The thing that's really cool and powerful about parenting is that on a deep level, the same thing applies whether you have a child outside or you're just talking about your inner child or your heart, emotional body. Like Michael Brown says, it's three things that's very important. And that is responsibility, taking responsibility, and responding instead of reacting. It's the same whether it is your child, which is maybe going through something difficult. Maybe it's very angry, for example. It's not going to do any good at all to react to it, to bring more anger from you also. It's not going to calm down the child, right? Or if it's feeling sad, and then you're going to react with just more sadness, falling apart. And it's the same with your inner child, right? When the feeling of sadness comes up, do you react to that? React with a lot of stories, sad stories and thoughts about how things never ever going to be better or whatever it is? Or can you respond and just be with it? And then the second thing is consistency, right? If you have a child, you need to be consistent to take care of it, right? And also with your attention. And like he says that it's much better to give your child attention for 1 hour a day than for only 1 day in a week or once in a while. Because you have consistency. So you have a much more stable and functional child then. But that is also the same with yourself. That's why it doesn't really work to just do the inner work or be responsible for yourself, your own emotions, sometimes when it's just bad enough, or not all the time. It needs to be consistent. It has to be every day. It doesn't have to be all the time or nothing, but it has to be every day. And that's why it's so good to have necessary to have the practice every day. Preferably more than once. So it is crucial to have that consistency. And then the third thing, compassion, right? Compassion. When you're going through something tough, it's only compassion that can help you to heal it or integrate it, to soften it. If not, you're just fighting resisting it, fighting hard against hard. It's only compassion. And with a child, again, if it's going through something tough, right? You're going to yell at it. You'll be angry with it, upset with it. Versus being compassionate with it. What do you think is the most functional, healing way of being with it? So that is kind of the trinity of both parenting your inner child and if you have outer child also. And the thing is, anyway, with all these parenting tips and tricks, it's very limited effect you can have on a child. If you don't do something inside yourself, you can do everything you want. It's a lot of practical, good stuff, of course, but on a deeper level, it's very limited how much you're actually going to affect that child. If it has problems, which most people do, right? But like problematic behaviors, which is just a symptom of something deeper going on inside, right? And then what people want to do is just only focus on the child, right? How can we fix this child? But if the parents doesn't do anything inside, it is very limited how much effect actually it's going to have on the child. So there's going to be any real, deep, lasting change. So that's the very cool thing about this also, is that you don't need to learn and know everything about the growing up, the psychology about that, everything about being the perfect parent and what you're going to do from A to Z. Of course, you have to learn stuff, but just by doing the inner work, going through that yourself and taking responsibility, being consistent and compassionate with yourself, just by doing that, you're automatically going to impact your child or your future child, which you haven't gotten yet, in such a big way that it's much more than all kind of superficial tips and techniques. So I think it's very little focus on this. Very few people know about it also, probably. So if you have a kid in kindergarten or school, and you're talking with the people working there, right? How can we get this behavior back on track? How can we make it fit in, or whatever it is they're trying to do? I don't think you're going to hear from them that, oh yeah, parents have to kind of deal with that stuff first. Because what we see in our kids, right, is all our inner stuff is reflected in the kids from both the parents. And then we just blame and then try to change the kid instead of ourselves. So this is about taking responsibility for everything, changing everything from the inside out, alchemizing it, while also taking appropriate actions in the outside world, of course.